Do something loud.
Action. We do have a dog, right?
Yeah. We have a little guest here, actually.
She's a lovely Cocker Spaniel, and she's very excited to be here today. I think more excited than I am, and that's saying something.
Therapy, so it's like...
So it's total BS. Like,
yeah.
It's all lies.
Yeah, so like holistic therapy for fine line work? No, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's meaningless.
Yeah.
Non-existent. Recommendation for new artists then would be rootery.
Yes, but then you're talking about strokes. Not those types of strokes.
No, oh yeah.
No. Get your man out of the gutter. You put up on our website. It's like, who cares about your website?
For only $2,000 a year.
Yeah. It's like, how's that? Like, that's not worth it, So I just realised, right, okay, I'm just going to tell our students that, like, third-party accreditation is bullshit. All right.
Back at it again.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited about this one. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while now,
I think since the very beginning, I think this has been on your mind, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, it's kind of one of the main sort of reasons why I wanted to sort of kickstart, the podcast, to sort of raise a few points about, the training specifically, because it's such a taboo thing in the industry, and there's a lot of artists that are kind of like against it. Oh, yeah. So, I don't want to talk like negative about it, because I understand their points and like their concerns.
They're valid points. Yeah.
Some of them, but it's kind of, there's pros and cons with everything, I just kind of want to sort of like talk about it.
Just enlarge that subject, really. So we're going to talk through the entirety of it.
Yeah.
So this will be, I mean, I'm excited. There's a lot to get through. There's a lot of interesting points in here that, for a mind such myself as someone who's not really in the industry, I'm just fascinated to get into some of these and hear your points on them. So, I guess a little bit of an intro. Be talking about the Tattoo Academy today. Very exciting.
Tattoo Training Academy.
Training.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know. Just training sounds better, I guess.
Oh no, totally. I'm right with you.
Yeah.
All right. So, let's get into it. What are you offering?
We're doing the tattoo and piercing training. With the piercing training, it's a wee bit easier because there is like a specific way of doing it. Once you're trained in it, you know exactly where to go from there. Yeah. Now, with the piercing training, we've had a couple of piercers from our place that we trained, sent somewhere else to get trained up.
Yeah.
And like everyone's highly successful, and so we kind of knew already that, like, because we've seen the success of him, if we did ours, we would want to go above and beyond with it as well.
Even what you had.
So the amount of resources that we're going to be given to people, whenever they complete it, they can essentially start piercing by themselves.
Straight after that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I kind of designed the tattoo training exactly the same way. Now, the real reason, like, why I sort of thought this is definitely a better way forward for myself anyway, was because I wish I had this whenever I was starting out. I talked about my sort of experience in the apprenticeships, having two different mentors.
How difficult that was, how, you weren't even aware of what you were up to half the time.
Exactly, yeah, like used for like essentially free labour, having to come in and, I was just basically left to my own devices most of the time.
Sweeping floors, whatever it was.
Exactly, yeah, and I have to like put in the effort and so on, like here and there, and it's like, no, I sort of get it, and it's getting used to like the studio life, and I kind of understand it.
Yeah,
but there's definitely a better way forward with it.
And you think you found it here?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because we spent over a year working on these, and jam packing it with all information a person would need, and even like whenever they fully complete the training, once they leave, they still know what they're at, especially through like the videos they were giving them. So they can always refer back to the videos, and just in case they forget anything, and they have all the resources there for them.
At the beck and call that they can get at any point they need.
Exactly, yeah. And then, of course, like support as well. So because they've done it, we know what they've been taught. We can always brush up on different things.
Or expand upon other things.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, well, this sounds fantastic right off the bat.
Yeah. So it kind of eliminates like the personal side of things, you know, when it comes to working in a tattoo studio, you have so many different personalities, you know, because you're brand new getting into, it's like, you know, you're so used to, you know, corporate way of doing things.
The normal way, as people would say.
Yeah, like you might be coming out of school like I was, so I was expecting tests, I was expecting exams, you know, I was expecting coursework.
A whole different world than what you actually ended up getting into.
Exactly, yeah, where it's like you're just kind of from the deep end, and it's like, we'll see how you are, you know. I was just like, well, okay, I'm not being told anything. I'm not being taught anything. It's kind of used, you know, cover reception, do this, do that. And it's like, okay, let's eliminate all that because it just wastes time, you know. Once again, I understand that, like, you know, through some artists' point of view, it's like, oh, you're getting used to studio environment. But if you're taught how you should run the tattoo studio, you shouldn't really technically have to do that.
Well, it's the idea that, well, you've had quite a few artists begin with you or start with you after being elsewhere for training, right? And everyone that comes in, you've no idea where they're at or what they've been practicing or what they're good at or what they're aware of, right? And this would kind of just completely stop that, right? They would all have the same level of understanding and it would be officiated in some form, so you know what you're getting, which I think is just worth its weight in gold.
Well, at the same time, you know, everyone is different. That's why tattooing is such a, you know, grey area.
Personal matter, yeah.
It is so personal to you and how you learn and so on. And we'll talk about that here shortly. But yeah, it's just a very standardized way of like teaching people, you know, and where it's like there's no like involvement outside of that, you know, so we're not expecting them to do anything more than just come in, learn, and then go on to do their own thing. Now, there's a lot of tattoo studios, you know, they would say like, oh, you don't tattoo course, you can't get a job here. And it's like completely understandable, you know.
Because they've been taught a whole different way and, you know, it's just, it comes with its own problems.
It depends, you know, because like everything you're taught in an apprenticeship, you're taught in this course as well. Now, time difference, that's the main sort of difference, you know. For the training course, you know.
We do have a dog, right?
Yeah. We have a little guest here, actually. It's Rua, isn't it?
Rua, yeah. Are you? She's a lovely Cocker Spaniel, with red fur, and she's very excited to be here today. I think more excited than I am, and that's saying something. So you might hear her huffing and puffing or running about, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a bit of character.
She's friendly. Don't worry.
Yeah. But yeah, so getting a job, you know, in another tattoo studio, of course there'd be a wee bit taboo with it.
Oh yeah.
But would they not be taboo with it whenever they're coming from another studio as well?
Exactly. So you're going to run into the same problems you would have elsewhere with that kind of thing.
Exactly.
There's no way to improve that, really.
So the main sort of issue, you know, you would have with it is if we just kind of brought people in for 2 weeks and we're just like, oh yeah, just teach them a lot of bullshit.
Just teach them something.
Yeah. And then left them to their own devices, you know, which is, you know, neglect at its finest, you know, or so it's just money grabbing and you don't care about the individual.
They're just there for your, you know, uses instead of for them to learn something.
Exactly. Yeah. So I told myself we would never come to that, you know. We would go above and beyond for our students, I would say, exactly the same as we would go for, you know, our clients, you know, above and beyond. So the course itself is 1,500 for a tattooing.
1,500, so that's 1,500 Great British Pounds. Yeah,
it is. Yes,
just double checking that. Yeah.
And then there's the patient training as well, which I think is 600. But we'll have Connery in soon enough, you know, for the patient training.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about all that
associated with him. Yep. Absolutely.
We'll just dive a wee bit deeper with the Pearsons, you know.
We'll keep to our side of it.
Yeah, but there's a couple of different approaches as well. So, you know, we prefer people do the tattoo training in person, but say if they only wanted to like learn online by themselves and just get the resources and get the videos, because everyone works in different ways. Yeah,
some people are better to be in there. Some people like to just do it all from their own mind, from home. So it's good that you give them the choice in the matter.
Exactly, yeah. It is a wee bit cheaper, but, you know, I fully address like all the issues that they're going to experience by not doing it in person, you know.
In person's always going to be better, I imagine.
Exactly. Oh, hello. Yeah, absolutely. Because then they get hands-on training, you know, and they will know exactly what they're at.
I just think, yeah, I mean, personally, I'm a very much a practical person. I learn best being there in the moment, learning from what I'm seeing. So for me, if I was going to do this course, I'd want to be in there every day with it.
Yeah, exactly. But some people love to just be left to their own devices.
Yeah, do it their own time, and yeah.
Exactly. So we give them the full sort of like rundown, you know, with that, you know, so they'd have the option. I'd done the teaching course myself, and just to give me an extra sort of qualification and like insight into teaching. And, you know, that's a real sort of reason why I kind of did the, you know, like the in-person training and the online training as well, just because like people just,
you need to have that option. Yeah. I think it's great that you even offer that, honestly.
Yeah. It's just something extra, you know, for them. But
so what's I'm wanting to get into the course, right?
Yeah.
What's the initial start of that look like? Do I have to come in for an assessment or something? Or?
Yeah, so we do have the initial assessment. So we'll send over the form. Well, it's just a Google Doc form, you know. So they would kind of select everything that they need to sort of tell us, you know, like previous experience, why they're doing it, and so on, you know. They would also have to send over a portfolio as well. Just a small portfolio. It could be work in progress as well.
But just enough to get you an idea.
Yeah, because I feel that like, you know, a bit of regulation is really, really important, because we're not just simply going to allow people to do this training, you know, and then with us knowing fine rightly they're not suitable for the career, or if they're not, how should I say, if they're going to fail.
Yeah, they're not in the right spot for it. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
which is, if you think about it, that's a nicety really that you're doing, right? Because you could just take their money.
Yeah.
Right, with no consequence in your own mind, right? You provide them the training, understanding that they're never going to be able to do it. Where what you want to try and do is save them the money, save them the time. If they're not a good fit for the circumstances,
exactly,
you would tell them.
The thing is, like, we would also tell them why we're not accepting it, you know, and maybe it's something that can improve on, or perhaps it's just like a different sort of reason why they're getting into the industry. Like, say if like, oh, I just want to do it because I think it's fun, you know, I think it's a fun career, you know, I'm give them a call or just put it down in an email, be like, look, you know, it's not the right sort of attitude to have going into the industry. You know,
it's a lot of work, as these episodes have shown time and time again.
Exactly. And we don't need another scratcher. You know, like, we don't need another person working from home or going, like, doing tattoo parties.
Time
or like,
wasting.
Yeah. And it's just going to give us a bad name as well. You know, it's like, why would I do that, you know?
Well, you're trying to bring a little bit of professionalism to the entire thing. I think it's totally reasonable.
So we just need a bit of regulation with that, you know, and, you know, just try and keep things as professional as it can be, you know. But yeah, it's just something that I really wanted.
So you've had in your mind for a while,
yeah. It's something I personally wish I had, you know. But with that, we also have like a contract. I pay a solicitor like silly amount of money to make this. Believe it or not, I've contacted like so many different solicitors and see if like anyone can accept this, you know, to create like a contract to suit what we're trying to do. And nobody accepted it.
Because it was a first of its kind, right?
Yeah, it's such a grey area, that's why, you know. And it made me kind of realise, like, wow, all these people, like studios offering tattoo training, they don't realise how much they're putting themselves at risk, you know?
Everything. Oh God, the legalities. I mean, it probably boggles your mind.
Yeah, so I dived in really deep to make sure we're doing things.
You're doing everything correct, above the board.
So with this solicitor, you know, we spent about a month working on this, you know, a lot of back and forth on how it's structured, how we're doing it, and, you know, to keep ourselves protected as well as the customer. Yeah, and just do things, you know, by the book. But while I was doing that, you know, I sort of realised, you know, like, I wanted third-party accreditation, you know, because, like, one, it looks good.
It looks,
you know,
real good.
Yeah, for the client, you know, whenever they're looking around for different training, they're going to see, like, oh, wow, they're accredited. Problem is, you can't get accreditation for tattooing.
Go for it,
because there's no standard one way of teaching it or learning, you know, how to tattoo.
So there's not like a regulated, this is the way it's done.
Yeah. Now, we found one for piercings, right? And then we sort of thought like, oh, okay, it's easy enough. We inquired about it, it's like, okay, cool. And it got to a stage where it's like, right, we're ready for this. Let's go for the third-party accreditation for the piercings, right? So I phoned them up and they were like, oh, you only cover for lobes. What do you mean? So we only cover for one area?
Part of the body? Quite small part of the body.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, how come is that is? It's like, oh, the rest of them are just a wee bit more sort of tricky, so we just try to avoid, accrediting, piercers for that. So it's like, right, and we know of one other place is claiming that they're accredited by that.
Yeah.
For only one type of piercing. So that means that like they're teaching everyone else, how to do like other types of piercing, like helix, belly button.
Yeah, under the illusion that also too is credited.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah. And then I seen another tattoo course that was like fine line and it's accredited, right? I was like, what's it accredited by? Right? Some holistic accreditation. It's like, because it's therapy, so it's like.
So it's total BS. Like it's all lies.
Yeah, so like holistic therapy for fine line work. No, that doesn't make sense.
Insane.
Yeah, so I found another one where it's like, we'll accredit you as long as you pay us £2,000 a year, and you have to like use your logos, you have to do this and that, and it's just like, right, so you're not like, this doesn't make sense. Why are you taking so much money just to say that like
you've been accredited by these people?
And that's not a one-off fee. That's yearly.
That's yearly.
Yeah,
that's insane.
I think it's more than 2,000 because it's up to like so many different like courses or whatever. So if you have like a multiple curriculum, like in
yes, that number's only rising.
Yeah, that's more. So it's like, how's that even?
How's that fair? How's that legal? Yeah. I mean, there's so many questions in there.
That's a bit ridiculous. And it's like, oh, but you get access, like you'll get review. You put up on our website. It's like, who cares about your website?
For only $2,000 a year.
Yeah. It's like, how's that? Like, that's not worth it, So I just realized, right, okay, I'm just going to tell our students that, like, a third-party accreditation is bullshit.
Yeah, it's meaningless. Yeah. Non-existent.
No, I did find one, right, that was government recognized, right? And I was like, okay.
Very official.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then it's a place in England, right? And then I inquired about it. It's like, okay, we're looking to see how you got it. It's like, oh, we do it, so it's like, we'll send you the documents, you review them, and if you're happy enough to teach our curriculum. So keep in mind, we've already spent over a year working on ours.
Yeah.
Teaching everything that I know. And they're saying, they're like, oh no, you have to teach what we have created. It's over 600 hours, right? And
wow.
It's your full-time job to teach that yourself. So one, it's not feasible for like a full-time artist like myself.
Yeah, for a normal person.
Yeah, for like a student, it's not really feasible either, Like I designed this keeping in mind like the struggles that I sort of face whenever I was starting out, keeping a part-time job, learning part-time, and then being part-time in the studio as well. And then of course I had a life too,
Yeah.
So it's like...
It's so unrealistic to expect of someone who wants to do that.
Yeah, so I wonder how they're meant to fund it, how they're meant to fund their life,
Yeah.
What if they have wife and kids?
How are they fitting that time around? It's 600 hours. I mean, that is such an insane dedication of time, even for someone who's doing it full time.
Exactly. And keep in mind, like tattoo apprenticeships are something similar as well. Like you're expected to be in a tattoo studio about, part-time or full-time, but you're expected to show up even if you're not tattooing.
Yeah.
You're there to learn.
You're there to put the time in.
Exactly, yeah. So you're expected to do this for free, which means it's going to eat away at your personal life, it's going to eat away like your work life, and so on. So it's like, that kind of defeats the purpose why we're doing this, So I phoned up like an insurance company as well because,
but you want to make it all good, yeah.
Yeah, we want the insurance, for this. So I was like, look, I want to make sure that, not customers, students, once they leave, they can get insured, right? So, I phoned so many different places and, the insurance that we have currently, previously we've actually switched. They're the only ones that would insure. I was like, right, okay, that's really weird. Why am I only finding like one place that
that's willing to
insurance? But their clause is that you need 6 months experience being shadowed by someone, but you're not allowed tattoo during that time. Right? So you're just meant to watch and tattoo. Yeah. So it's like, okay, that's really weird, like
it's not so great for learning.
Yeah. So like you're just meant to like, it's technically meant to be like an apprenticeship, right? And it's like, okay, what about like for another insurance? And I was like, okay, so you have to do, like I had another one, and it was like, oh, you have to do tattoo apprenticeship. And I was like, right, that's okay. So like, say, like, let's run this, like say I just done a tattoo apprenticeship, I want to apply for, tattoo cover.
This course, yeah.
Yeah, and then, just for like, say I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.
Ready to get started on tattooing. I want to apply for insurance, to make sure that like I'm covered in case anything happens for treatment cover.
All the legalities, yeah.
Yeah, and then they were like, well, is the government recognised? Tattoo apprenticeships aren't government recognised. Unfortunately, then we can't insure you. And it's like, okay, no tattoo apprenticeship is government recognised. The government literally does not recognise tattoo apprenticeships as a real apprenticeship. So in theory, nobody's ever actually legally done a tattoo apprenticeship.
And that's just the weird grey area that tattooing falls into.
Exactly, yeah. But it depends from insurance to insurance. So that other insurance I was talking about, and it's like you need 6 month shadow experience. It's like, okay, so you're expected just to show up every now and then to watch somebody learn.
Yeah.
To watch somebody tattoo. It's like, okay, that's and does it have to be like government recognized or anything like that? It's like, hang on, let me look into this. So the amount of back and forth that has with insurance companies,
they probably hadn't even put the thought into it either.
Exactly. So there's like, oh no, like it's fine as long as you're like, you've watched somebody tattoo for 6 months, you're fine.
That's just it,
yeah. I was like, right, okay, that's so weird. But I managed to find one. We give the option to people as well. It's like, right, so we find like, I think 2 or 3 different insurance companies that can insure them. But Westminster Insurance is by far like the best one that I sort of find. And the guy on the phone, very decent. He was like, look, you don't actually technically need insurance until you do. The accreditation, I mean, because it depends from your local council. And I phoned them as well.
You really did your homework.
Yeah. They just couldn't. They couldn't tell me anything. They're like, oh, we're not too sure. Maybe you need us.
It's just this weird grey area where the government, insurance agencies, tattoo artists, no one quite knows where this lands.
Exactly. Yeah. So we finally got down to the bottom of it. And, we find like 2 or 3 insurance companies that will insure you under certain conditions, which we state, pre-application and after as well, and to make sure they're like, oh, okay.
Everything's covered, full legality. We're
fully aware of what's going on then, But, you can definitely get cover after completing a tattoo training, provided that like you've been taught by us.
I credit for this. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so wow, I am amazed, firstly, by the way, how much you've actually put into this.
Oh yeah, that took forever. That took about a month or 2 to actually get to the bottom of like what's legal, what's
where do we
not,
land on this?
Why is accreditation so difficult to get, and so on.
This could be the beginning of a revolution. This could be you beginning to get the government to fully recognise tattoo.
It got to that stage before we found Westminster Insurance. We got to that stage where it's like, right, we need to start a revolution.
You would have to take it to the government.
Yeah, it turns out somebody else had that idea.
No way.
It didn't take off because you can't fund it.
Oh yeah.
Because like tattoo artists as well, they're going to be looking at it and being like, why?
Why do I want to pay into this?
Yeah. So they actually went bust.
Oh no!
Yeah, because like nobody's really paying into it, nobody's doing it. So it's impossible to do it as an individual.
You would need a large organization.
Yeah, you would need funding behind it. You would need to build this up yourself. So it's like, okay, unless the government steps in, it's like, right, we're gonna put some sort of actual regulation in this for free.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, to keep everyone else protected, we're not going to do jack, basically, so.
That's quite saddening. I mean, who knows, maybe in 10 years' time, suddenly it seems a lot more doable. There's money there, or there's the support there, something for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think probably that was quite a long spiral, but I was just so interested in there. Probably get back to the actual topics.
Yeah.
Okay, so so right off the bat then, as you were saying there.
What foundational skills should every new tattoo artist master before taking clients? So as long as you know the basics, good to go.
And what are we saying as someone completely outside of this kind of industry? What are the basics when we go into it?
So first and foremost, hygiene. That's the single most important part. And the very first thing you need to learn. Through our training, we actually get, our students to do 5 additional courses. I might as well say what they are. So first aid, right?
Yep,
just in case something happens. Infection prevention control.
Yeah.
Level 2 VTQ, right? That is one and only thing that's actually government recognized.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
The one thing that was like government approved.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And what is it? Sorry.
So it's tattoo infection prevention control. So it's all the techniques you need to learn, the basics of how to set up, how to clean up, how to protect yourself, how to protect the client. The very bare basics.
But absolutely some of the most important aspects.
Exactly. Yeah. So they would need to do that course before they even start ours. And then first aid as well, and then fire safety training.
Oh yeah.
I feel that that's really
you
important.
Have to. Everyone has to.
Safeguarding adults.
Oh yeah.
I feel that is really important because you're working with adults. You're going to be hearing a lot of stories. Some people may be in better trouble, whatever.
You know how to handle that. Absolutely. I think that's great forethinking on your behalf there.
Yeah. And then what was it? Bloodborne pathogens as well. So like knowing more about just bloodborne pathogens, like hepatitis B, HIV,
prevention.
Exactly, yeah. And how to sort of like prevent that, understand it and prevent it, But yeah, so, and then we go on to, they get the videos, right? So that they know exactly, what to do. So you need to watch the videos before they do it. Well, it's advised. You don't have to.
You don't have to, but it will help.
Yeah, but there's like over 10 hours worth of content there.
Lots to get your teeth in.
Yeah. From like the setup to...
Better than 600 hours. I have to put that out there. That's quite a bit better.
Yeah, well, to be honest, like it showed me the curriculum and I took a lot of inspiration from it, but I've had, they went into a lot of detail. It doesn't even matter. It was about like your bones in the body. Your muscles. Like facial muscles and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure they started talking about like ears and stuff, so I was like, dude, like that's not really that necessary.
It's certainly not necessarily for the beginning of someone's career.
Yeah, it's good to know, but like it's kind of counterintuitive, to like learn in tattooing. But either way, I sort of took that, expanded on that, and sort of provided that with our course as well. Yeah. I felt that like it's good to have, but it's not necessary.
I would obviously we haven't mentioned any names about this. I would say that for stuff like that, it's almost like they maybe assigned the costing for the course and then decided after the fact of what they would put in it, right? It almost seems like they're justifying the price that they're putting up for that course, where for what you built a course and then put a number on it. So you started, in my mind, what is the right way. You're not trying to fill it out so it looks like you're getting your money's worth. You're getting your money's worth, and this is how much it is. I think that's great. That's much more simple, much more easier.
Yeah. I'm constantly adding to it as well. So like anything like new I sort of learn or discover.
Goes
like
in there as well.
Like for example, the lymph node system, and how that kind of carries, swelling and like filters out like any toxins in your body. When you're getting tattooed, it's trying to release some of those like additional chemicals, that's used in ink, and trying to filter that through.
Does that really mean they tend to swell?
Oh yeah. Have you not? Well, when it's more so for bigger sessions and more closer to your heart, and that sort of generally happens. Maybe you get a bit of swelling underneath your armpits, maybe behind the ears and so on. So it turns out by massaging them, it actually helps that process.
No way.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That was even after I've completed the sort of course.
Yeah.
That it was like, oh, I might actually write up on that.
Yeah, that's worth adding into it.
Yeah.
So it's growing then by the day, by the week.
Of course,
anytime you discover something, you think, oh man, this would be great for a new person to know.
Yeah, and if somebody's already completed our training, I would send them what new thing that I've kind of learned, or maybe added to a newsletter.
Yeah.
And then that comes out to them as well. So it's like every day, like Well, I'd probably say multi-newsletter.
Oh, yeah. Do not say weekly. Good God.
Yeah. So like by the end of the month, they're like, oh, wow, I never actually thought about this. That's actually quite interesting, So, they're forever kind of like growing.
Always learning, always something coming new. I think that's great, sharing your knowledge with them so everyone comes off better. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then, so moving back to, what foundation skills you should have before taking on clients.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the setup, single most important thing. Once you know how to set up correctly, and you kind of know everything there is to know about hygiene.
Yeah, the safety and part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you would then start on latex skin. So you would clean your setup, and then you would start on latex.
Yeah.
So through that process of setting up and getting your latex skin out and starting practicing out and then cleaning up, you're already trying to get that muscle memory saved in your head, so that like every time you go set up, you're following the same routine. So every time you go practice in latex, clean up.
You're doing the exact same things you would do for an actual client.
Exactly, yeah. Following exactly same routine step by step. And if you're ever stuck, refer back to the videos I've done. So they're like, oh, I kind of forget what happened in this.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a one and done. That video is there for you to use whenever you need it.
Come back to it whenever you want. Yeah. And then from there, you would practice on latex. So starting off with very basics, so like dot work is the easiest way forward, because you can't really mess it up.
Really?
Well, first and foremost, like stencil,
Oh, yeah.
But that's easy enough, once you get it perfect, you would then get started on the dot work, so you just kind of build it, and that kind of teaches you patience as well, and then you would jump into line work, and then you jump into shading as well. So basic techniques,
Yeah, and you're progressively moving your way up the difficulty ladder of it.
Yeah, like whip shading, brush shading, different types of needles as well. See, try and experiment with ones, to see what's more which ones you like.
Yeah, because we talked about this, very preferential what your choice in needles is.
Oh yeah,
but that's going to be a learning curve.
That comes later, that comes with experience. After a few tattoos, you kind of start to gravitate towards something
one or the other. Yeah,
but it's really important to master the basic techniques first of all. Yeah, and then from there you would attempt like a few shapes, and then you would attempt like a few sort of like designs. Try to attempt like a custom design, So like getting more and more sort of difficult as you go along, so you have to kind of learn to crawl before you walk.
Absolutely.
Or before you start running.
And so where does this all culminate then? When does someone know they have the skills required to begin a course like this?
To sign up to it?
Yeah.
Well, it all starts in drawing.
It all starts there, yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. Like you have to have a bit of an artistic background.
Oh, a flair to it.
Yeah. Because you can't just go from like one job that you're so used to, like corporate or like bricklaying or stuff like that, to be like, I'm going to do tattooing.
I'm going to do art.
Because it seems like fun and it seems like a cool career to have, It's like you can't just like simply jump into it.
Yeah, it's just not a career that it opens itself up to someone jumping straight into it. There's fundamentals you need to get. There's work and preparation that needs done.
Yeah, so and it all starts with pen and paper, or like a pencil and paper. Start drawing your own designs. Start getting creative with it.
Absolutely.
And then once you understand the basics of art, that'll really help you out in the career. Now, like I've met artists that never drawn before. Believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. Well, when I say artists, they're more like tattooists, Yeah. They'll kind of just copy things online, maybe like very simple, basic, like, Photoshop work.
Yeah.
Combining different things together, print it off, stencil it, and then they would just start tattooing it. Yeah, because you're technically learning how to operate machinery, and tattooing is very similar to oil painting. So if you know how to oil paint, your transition into
the skills are transferable.
Yeah, a wee bit easier, and it's easier for a transition. You pick it up faster, and it would carry you further than just simply learn how to tattoo.
Yeah,
well, ever.
That's interesting. I think I would have put some idea into the thought that to even get into being a tattoo artist, there has to be that fundamental artist stage that you're in initially.
You will come across situations where it's like, oh, my stencil's rubbing off, or like, oh, a stencil here, started like come like really like kind of say sweating, and it's starting to like rub off the stencil, or like friction that starts to rub off, and you're like, if you don't have that artistic flair, you're going to struggle. You're going to mess it up, and you're not going to know what what to do.
What the hell to even do in that circumstance? Yeah,
exactly. So that's where your artistic flair comes in, and that's actually another reason why like my senses are so bad sometimes, because like like I'd rather just be like,
you have the skill that you could just fill it in very nice.
Yeah, within reason, of course. Not to sound cocky, but no, for sure. Like art is essential, and obviously being a tattoo artist,
So, well, what about techniques then? So we understand that to start off, it's useful if not necessary to have that kind of artistic streak. So what's the difference between having the technique of drawing down compared to the actual machining itself?
Well, again, it's like learning to operate machinery. They're similar, just different. There's like unspoken rules in tattooing that you need to sort of follow, and that's.
I'd like to hope they're spoken in the course, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Double checking.
Yeah. So, but that's again bringing it back to fundamentals. Learning how to, like the basics. Learning to crawl before you walk, and that's the mistake a lot of people make. Where it's like, oh, I kind of understand it. Let's do sleeve. It's like that's where you're going to mess up. That's where you're going to pick up bad habits. That's where you're going to kind of get tired and cut corners and just mess the whole thing up. So there's a transition, where it's like you start off small and
move off to it.
Yeah.
Because an artist, just a regular artist, they couldn't just jump in to be a tattoo artist, right? Because as you said, the machining is also an aspect of that. So you might be an incredible drawer, but you have to get used to the actual machining itself.
Yeah.
And that prospect of it.
But again, that's just learning techniques.
Yeah, so it's all part and process. Yeah. God, that's good. I just, I always wished I had a little bit of an artistic streak myself. But I was never, I think my sister just sucked it right out of my mother's womb before I even got close. You know what I mean? I just didn't even get a chance.
Well, I strongly believe that like everyone is an artist in their own way. Like for example, like my brother, he would be more musical. I do not have a musical bone in my body.
I've heard him sing. So.
I have a lot of sort of like appreciation, for people that do, and like I enjoy music, but I wouldn't say I'd be able to play anything
at all
ever. Like that, it's just not my thing. But he can say the same thing about drawing. So like everyone is artistic in their own way.
Everyone has that creativity in them. It's just expressed differently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just need to figure out what it is, and it could be something so minuscule as like, oh, I love coffee. There's coffee art. Everything is an art form if you think about it.
Oh God, yeah, literally. You can make anything into an art by being good at it.
Yeah. And we'll actually touch on that later. How if tattooing is definitely the best way of making money as an artist.
Yeah,
because you'd be surprised.
Oh, I'm excited to get into it.
But, so some points that tattoo artists would raise, for like doing a course or like tattoo school or training academy,
anything along that kind of
whatever way you want to phrase it. It's just training in general. A lot of people would say that like you're not learning some of the things you would learn in a tattoo apprenticeship, like the skin depth, how skin responds to like the needle and the different types of skin and so on. We do go into a crazy amount of detail on this. I would almost say it's like university level.
Really?
But I don't want to like sound too confident here, but like we did put a crazy amount of effort into this, and we do touch on that. But a lot of people, like a lot of tattoo artists, most of the points that they make is actually contradicting if you think about it, because I will bet money on this, right? That nobody, like their mentors, did not teach them half the stuff that they claimed that learned in a tattoo apprenticeship.
Yeah.
You learn by trial and error, and there's a massive part that comes into that, and even the world's best tattoo artists posting things like tattoos from their archives. They're like, oh, here's like black and gray artists. Here's some color tattoos I've done ages ago. I'm still learning every day. It's like, yeah, you're gonna know that through experience.
Yeah.
you're not just
through training.
Yeah. So it's like, although you're thinking like, oh, tattoo courses are bad because you're not being taught this, you weren't taught this in the apprenticeship.
Yeah.
You just figured it out yourself by trial and error.
Doing it, yeah. So
exactly.
it's not a case of it came from the apprenticeship. It just happened to happen during the apprenticeship.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, another reason is like, oh, you're bringing too many people into the industry. But like, look around, it's already saturated and people are still getting work. You just, it's just competition. It's like that with anything. You know, like look at, for example, like Tesco's, look at M&S, look at Sainsbury's. Everyone's in competition with themselves.
It's capitalism, baby.
Yeah. It's just capitalism. It's the way things are going. And, but they're all still surviving.
Oh, yeah.
They still have jobs.
Still a really healthy industry with a lot of growth in it.
Competition is really healthy until it becomes toxic.
Yeah.
But it depends on the industry leaders and people
pushing the next generation. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just depends what you're preaching. You know, it's so important to sort of like go with it. You know, and
or be left behind.
Yeah, find a way of kind of like standing out. You know, but like most of like. I'm not speaking for all of them. I'm not speaking for any artist.
Yeah, this is generalization.
I'm just sort of seeing the artists that are posting about, you know, like courses being like such a negative in the industry. I looked at their work. What are you doing, man? You know, it's like, oh, I had an apprenticeship. Okay, good for you. But awesome, like, not everyone has to have that sort of experience.
The assumption most people make if they're in a line of business, whatever it is, oh, well, the way that I came up, that's the correct way, right? It's this backwards mindset of, oh, well, I did it that way, they should do it that way. Instead of what they should be looking for is, what didn't I get when I was there?
Exactly. That was my perspective whenever I was coming into, you know, the course.
Yeah, and thinking about this.
Yeah, because like, I did have a few apprentices in the past, right? And I did come at it for a perspective of like, okay, how can I make their experience as good as possible and teach them everything that I wish I was taught, and not sort of, you know,
leave them in the same rut that you find yourself in.
Exactly, yeah. But then I find that like, hey, why am I doing this? You know, like there's some of the issues that we sort of had in the past, where it's like, okay, but you can't just give apprentices like everything on a silver platter, because you're technically doing that for free. You're not getting them to sort of do any sort of jobs. You know, like I was expected to do, you know. I told myself,
so
I'm not
getting all the easy stuff.
Yeah, because everything. I sort of thought like we'd grow together, but not everyone has the same sort of process, you know, like mindset. You know, it's like they don't have the mindset of like, oh, this person's helping me, I'm going to be helping them, and we grow together.
Yeah,
you know,
a lot of people don't have that mindset.
Exactly, they're like, oh, I'm just going to get taught up and I'm just going to leave. It's like, well, fair enough, you know.
It's like, not what you're
looking. I can't fault them for that, you know, because like I kind of did the same thing, you know. It's like everyone has their own ideologies and what they want out of the career and their life. Fair enough. So I just sort of thought like, hey, yeah, training is a better way forward, because then it's like, hello, training is like standardized. Yeah. Once you've completed it, you do what you wish after that. But I'm not going to leave them to their own devices.
Yeah.
And I told myself, right, I'm going to give them the best possible start they need. So as soon as they get trained up, and if they're successful, and you know we still have space, I'm going to give them a chair.
Buy them right up, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to be like, look, you know, I see a lot of potential with you. If you need space to work, you have a space here.
They grow alongside you.
Exactly, yeah. No, it's not just like, oh, he's going to like make money off me. It's like, of course, it's a business.
Yeah, there's like, no other way it can be.
Exactly, yeah. And like, you need, like, I need to justify having them there, you know, and then potentially stealing on customers as well. And it's like, you know, it's a grey area.
Well, that's the hard thing for the entire thing, is you're fundamentally building up people that are going to be directly competing with you by the end of it. So you can understand the idea of what the tattoo apprenticeship has been in the past. Because obviously they're not getting any money out of it, so they wanted to get work out of you.
Yeah.
So it was a two-way street. Where with this, there's the incentive of the pay-in for the course itself.
Yeah.
They get all the information they need, and you know, well beyond what you would get.
They can set up by themselves. You know, like they can literally just find a room to rent out. But there's a lot of
weight. In the back of a barbershop, maybe.
Yeah. There's a lot of weight that comes with that, though.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and some people might not want that. You know, they might just want to like ease themselves in, and I'm giving them the opportunity to do that. So it's going to be standard, for everyone, where it's like, once you complete the training, start off with friends and family, and then once you gain a bit of experience, move on to
pick customers. On an actual customer.
Yeah. Well, there's different ways of like approaching that. And I teach that, so, and they have like lists of like making sure they hit all the points to make sure they're doing that safely. But anyway, that's, given the opportunities for like, oh, I can be my own boss right from the beginning, or I can work with AMAVI, the studio, rent a chair, bring friends and family in there at a percentage rate. So it's like, there's no worries if you get stuck and can't bring someone in, and like maybe we'll help you out as well. It just really depends on what
the circumstances are.
Yeah. I might give you a few clients, but once we see you grow, and if you're mixing well with the team, we might give you a residency.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, because like it just depends on how well they gel with the team. Because like that's
the be all end all, really, isn't it?
I've never wanted to hire just tattoo artists, but because like you just don't know their personality. And then what if like other artists that work with us don't like
they
them,
vibe with
them, exactly, and that ruins the experience for everyone. So we want to like make sure, and like I feel that this is a better way forward.
I think nothing I've heard today has in any way made me think that this is a money grab or, a get rich quick scheme. This very much seems like something you've put a lot of work in, you've put a lot of heart into, you've done the legwork for it. And what you're offering here seems to be, from my perspective outside of the industry, probably one of the best choices for someone trying to get into the industry.
Well, see, that's the mindset I sort of had, going into it. Is it my fault that like somebody else, like some artist somewhere, is going to be thinking like, oh, what an arsehole, like another tattoo course, I'm going to slate him for it. It's like, man, like, what are you doing with yourself?
Just
like
living to hate other people. Like.
Yeah, it's like, focus on yourself, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I'll listen to some of the constructive points.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Provided they're constructive and that I can't argue against them. If I'm in the wrong, I would accept that. I'd be like, right, okay, I'm in the wrong. Let's try and improve on.
See what we can do better for the next time. And I think that's great. And you mentioned that earlier, of course, with anytime you learn a new technique, that'll be updated onto the course. It's all towards the betterment of this course, which I think is just fantastic for it. So I guess we can talk a little bit more about some of the stuff for artists, kicking off into the industry. So like, I guess, how would I, as a new tattoo artist, how would I choose a machine for myself?
Oh yeah, so there's lots of different machines. We did touch a
little bit base.
Yeah, on the sort of coil machines and the difference between coils and rotary. But I didn't actually go into sort of deep into the history of it. Coil machines. Thomas Edison, 1876.
Thomas Edison?
Yeah. So he created the basic sort of coil system. And then Samuel O'Reilly, like he was like, oh, here, that's pretty cool. Let's stick a needle at the end of it.
Start stabbing people with it.
Yeah. And obviously it kind of evolved and then stagnated from there, for, coil machines. Rotary machines came in roughly same sort of time as Samuel O'Reilly's kind of version of the coil machine. It was Thomas Riley, 1891, was like, hey, let's do a motor powered rotary.
As you do, just some guy in his garage.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there. And he kind of created like the blueprint for it, but it never really took off until much later. Mm-hmm. And it's very recently that it sort of started taking off. That they the rotary machines, and it came about the wireless ones as well. But like there's pros and cons for both of them. Like I did touch on that.
We went through that a little bit in our previous one.
Yeah. But basically getting down to, coil machines, I personally don't like them myself. I don't use them. I respect anyone that does, kind of keeping the tradition alive, and like loyal to the coil, as they say. Yeah. And,
is that what they say?
Yeah.
The coil?
And like, it's cool that like a artist using it, but just wouldn't be my cup of tea. And I only teach rotary, because like it's what I know. Yeah. It's what I've been using my entire career.
Recommendation for new artists then would be rotary?
Yes. But then you're talking about strokes. not those types of strokes.
Oh yeah.
No. Get your mind out of the gutter. Yeah, so there's 2.5 millimeter, there's 3 millimeter, there's 3.5 millimeter, and 4 millimeter, right? So think about 2.5 would be like it has like very short stroke, which means it can lay down like smooth shades very, very easily, but it's hopeless in using in line work, because you need a bit of power behind it to do. Yeah. So that's where like 4 millimeters come in, where they saturate the skin very well. And that's really good for line work. And that's really good for heavy saturation, like blackout and color. There's a lot of color artists that would use, 4 millimeters, but it hits the skin very hard, but saturates very quick.
So it can be a bit of an irritation for a client.
Yeah. So, believe it or not, 4 millimeter, I was using Shine Thunder as my very first official machine.
Great name, love that.
Yeah, and it was like, it hit,
It was a heavy hand.
Yeah, it really, it was borderline, like if you oversaturated the skin, you would chew it up, very easily. So it was unforgiving. Whereas like, I then transitioned to like 3 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter, somewhere in around there. It was, I can't remember now. Inject the Flight Nano. It was awesome.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah. But with that, you got like wee dampeners with it, and the wee bars. So every machine is different, and we touch on that as well. I actually talk about the Flight Nano in the course as well.
Fantastic.
Because you get so many different types of machines. You know?
It's impossible to know, really.
Yeah, so it's good to do your own research, but as long as you understand the basics of the strokes and dampeners, it could be bars, it could be like on the actual machine itself. It's important to read the manual. It's important to watch your reviews.
Well, it's going to be something you're going to be using for your everyday life. It's probably worth it reading the manual.
Oh, absolutely. And every tattoo, you should come at it with like a method to it. So you would consider what machine you're using and what stroke length, and what sort of dampeners you would want with it, to keep it simple. Whereas coil machines, it's like, right, okay, to do with one like tattoo, you would need like 5 machines. It's like, oh man.
Really? Is it that bad?
Well, no, it can be.
It can be.
It just depends. Yeah. It depends on your approach to it, To me, it's just like it's unnecessary sort of to complicate it like that, which is why I respect anyone that does.
Yeah,
where it's like,
it just takes that extra amount.
It's an art form in itself.
Oh, and that's quite nice.
It's true, but I'm just not about that. It's just not for me.
Because you're a modern day tattoo artist. That's what it is. You're all for the new.
But it's important to keep it traditional.
Well, absolutely.
That's why traditional tattoos are so awesome.
Oh yeah, the old stick and pokes as well. Yeah.
Like
you're talking about traditional.
Well, yeah, but like just traditional art form.
Yeah.
You used to walk in the studio and pick out artwork off the walls. I still think that's cool.
I think that's cool as well.
And
absolutely.
It's it's awesome that the artists still, kind of provide that. But yeah, so kind of talk about, the needles, skin types,
Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask about, because obviously I'm a pale ghost. Obviously, I'm probably the whitest man you've ever seen. What's the differences for different types of skin and whatnot?
All right, so there's different pigmentations.
Yeah.
There's how it responds to ink, how it responds to needles as well, but more so for the age of the skin as well.
Okay.
And external factors as well. So it's never a simple question,
it's never just one and done.
No. So, with older sort of clients, I do go into a lot more in-depth sort of discussion.
Yeah.
With everything during training.
Be given it all for free.
Basically, when you're younger, like 18-year-olds, for example, their skin is so what? Yeah. It's so much harder sort of to tattoo, well, it takes more sort of trauma.
Yeah, it's a bit more resistant to it.
Yeah. More so males than females. Females would have more sort of delicate skin. But again, that's overgeneralization because I have met...
Oh, it's totally different, yeah.
Yeah, I have met females that have like harder skin than some guys,
Yeah, the bricklayers.
Yeah. But yeah, so, and yeah, you're right in saying that though, because your career does come into into play.
Oh, it does play an aspect of it?
Yeah, that's one of the external factors I'm talking about. So back to the ages, younger people take on more sort of trauma and take a wee bit more to sort of pack in, whereas like elderly, you need to be a lot more gentle because their skin is like butter, so you need to be super, super gentle in the approach to your tattoo. So you can't go have like the same sort of approach
with an
them.
18-year-old that you would have to
exactly
80-year-old.
Yeah, because you're going to have blowouts, you're going to overwork the skin, and it's going to take longer to heal, and plus like underlying health conditions, with elderly, you also have to sort of consider that, and then when it comes to pigmentations, like say darker skin and then like pale as a ghost, as you say, there's big sort of spectrum there. There's certain inks you can and can't use. So for darker skin, you can, like, I'd prefer sort of keep it, just ordinary black ink, because that comes out a lot better. It kind of holds a lot more sort of pigment. But if they're on the sort of like lighter side of the darker skin, more like sort of like caramel sort of, tone, you can get away with some colors. Like reds and yellows and, maybe a bit of blue, but it just doesn't really...
It doesn't work as well.
So more sort of like warmer colors, you'll be able to get away a lot better. Whereas like see on paler skin, like cooler tones, they pop.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're awesome. But so you kind of have to simplify it. The darker the skin is,
Yeah. Because obviously you're never going to be able to just give a definitive answer in this because everyone's different. And as you say, one guy from one girl to the next guy is going to be completely different just based on environmental factors for them as much as age or skin color.
Tan. That's the biggest culprit here as well, because like say, like if you went on holiday and like say if you tan, you come get a tattoo when you're tanned and it's like, okay, I'm going to have to use kind of like darker tones, like blacks and, darker shades and so on, and have a lot more so contrast. Once that tan wears off and you're pale the rest of the year, it's kind of like, okay, the contrast is too much there, But, sun acts as like a very light version of laser tattoo removal. So it does start to eat away at the particles that's in the ink and it becomes very light as a result,
That's crazy to me. I would never even thought, because like obviously thinking about it now, a tan probably would affect it, but I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, and then see white ink as well. Yeah, the darker skin and the tanner skin, the less effective it is.
White? Really?
Yeah.
You would think it would be the more it pops?
Well, it sometimes. That's the thing, you might do it and then like for the photo it'll look fantastic. Once it heats, might not work out.
Wow.
The white is like a very big kind of question mark.
Oh yeah, you just never quite knew.
Yeah, it's more for the photo, more than anything. And then I've seen in some cases where like you get white ink and quite a lot of it, and then you go on holiday, you get a tan, and it turns yellow. Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, you just white's a bit of a funny one, But yeah, talking about some of the external factors. So your skin is the biggest organ in your body.
Yeah.
And just like anything else in your body, like if you're neglecting your own health, it's going to reflect. Mm-hmm. So like say if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're overworked, if you're overstressed, if you're not eating good and, like not drinking enough water, your immune system kind of, starts to like suffer as a result, and it shows on your skin as well, and also cleanliness, if you don't shower often, we know, because like little bits of skin start to come off. It's like, well, okay, clearly you're not like, cleaning yourself too often, but at the same time that can reflect, health as
other
well.
Conditions. I was going to say something like eczema.
Oh, well, that's
like
a different story. When it comes to like skin conditions, that's why it's so important to have a consultation. Because
beforehand.
The client might not be telling you everything there is to know. You might look at the area. Like for example, I had a client there last week, and she came in for a tattoo for her leg, right? And then I designed it for the leg so it flows well and so on, blah blah blah. And then she comes in, and I'm like, right, so what do you think? And I had a look at the area, and then she's like, oh yeah, I love the design. I'm looking at the area, varicose veins. Like, we can't tattoo you. I am sorry.
Really?
Yeah, because they're very high surface level veins.
So it's very easy to just...
Very easy to rupture.
Wow.
Yeah, which can cause some devastating effects, and I'm not willing to
take that risk.
Yeah. So I just explained, like, look, we can maybe do something around it, and to maybe take the attention away from him, but we can't do anything over
the top of it.
Yeah.
And so there's no option there, really, right?
No, unfortunately not. I have tattooed quite a few people with psoriasis, some severe cases as well. One of the severe cases, his skin's like. Oh, it's horrible the whole year round. It's very rare that it would be like, wow, it's clear, but I'm kind of on call with people like that, where it's like, okay, it's clear.
Go.
Yeah. It's like, let's get you in. Let's go. So, you got to work with clients like that, but it's very kind of like sensitive skin, It's hard to tattoo. It feels hard, but once you take a pass on it, like first pass on the tattoo, it starts to bleed, and it's just like, wow, okay. It's more difficult sort of work with, but it's doable. People with eczema as well, or eczema, whatever way you want to pronounce it. You just need to wait until it's a wee bit more clear before you go into it. But yeah, it's generally not safe to tattoo. But I have tattooed a friend of mine who has eczema, and he was like, look, man, I don't think this is going to clear up anytime soon. Do you mind doing this? And I was like, I mean, you're my mate.
And just
like,
you got on with
take it at your own risk, and he was like, right. It wasn't too bad, and we kind of done the tattoo in a way to sort of work with it, and it actually healed up fine.
Really?
Yeah, but because I wouldn't do it on the client, because like the risks are not worth
too many unknowns about the entire thing.
Exactly, and with clients, it's like like I wouldn't want to put someone's health at risk in any sort of form of way,
Absolutely.
So you just want to be sort of careful with that,
Oh, I've been wanting to ask that question for years now. It's been haunting me. I've always just thought about that in the back of my mind. It's fascinating to finally get an answer for it. I think it's really nice that you took the chance on him to do it, on your friend. I think that's really nice, because I would find myself very disappointed if I had a skin condition like that and I wasn't able to get something, tattooed.
They would always say, like, speak to your doctor. They're the medical professional. They would tell you if it's safe or not. Ideally, try and get like a letter from them. So
something
tell us that, like, so we can, do your tattoo safely. Knowing that like nothing's going to happen. Instead of lying to us, for example.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
oh my goodness.